a step-by-step system for mastering trading psychology. That is what the mental game of trading is supposed to be all about. And in today's video, we're going to be uncovering the biggest takeaways I had after reading this book in just about 10 minutes. Now, the book is actually just over 300 pages long, so it did not take me 10 minutes to read the book. And as you can probably tell, I don't know if you can, yeah, there's some water damage. I did have this out by the pool. I did potentially go in the pool, come out of the pool, put the book underneath the chair, and then drip onto the book. But that's besides the point. And there is nothing that I'm trying to take away from Jared Tendler, and I highly recommend you check out the details of his book and potentially read it yourself cover to cover. But let's get right into the main concept from the start of the book. And there's this fundamental idea that emotions are not a bad thing in trading. Now, when it comes to trading, a lot of us will hear trading psychology. They'll hear all these different things, and then they'll tell you emotions are one of the worst things you can take into trading. You should not be trading with emotions. Get them out, eliminate them, do whatever you have to do so that emotions are not involved in your trading. Trading on emotions, trading on a hunch, trading on, I think this is going to happen without a systematic approach, realistically is not going to get you very far. But what Jared tries to tell us is that emotions are the signals. They're the clues that we can use to progress forward in our trading and to shore up our backside while improving our A game and our front side. And we'll explain more about that here in just 1 second. So what do? Well, we have to have some sort of systematic approach. That's like the fundamental thing, right? We cannot come at this just willy-nilly, random, without any documentation, without trying to track things. We do need to track something, okay? But it doesn't need to be this very complicated, massive, humongous thing. It's just start little by little, and then from there, you'll start to see what's actually working for you and what ultimately is helping you. And we'll get into some of the things that Jared recommends tracking. But first things first, he recommends early on in chapter 1 that we have some sort of way to document our A game, our B game, and our C game. And what that means is like A game, I'm on top of things, I'm dialed in, everything is working great, I'm not making any errors, my decisions are great. The only issue is the market, right? I can't control the market, and so if things don't go right, it was not my fault, it was just the nature of the market. I did everything that I could do per my strategy, and I operated it very well. B game, we kind of come into like, maybe I didn't do things perfectly. I didn't look at the market properly. I didn't trade my strategy I entered a little bit early. I exited a little bit late, but it still kind of was a good trade. It wasn't a bad trade. I was operating pretty well in the strategy. And with B game trades, like you could be profitable B game trades. You may not be, but you could be profitable if you trade B game all the time. Depends upon where you are in your trading career, because these things will change. And then C game, we are not on our game. We are making fundamental errors. We are doing things against our strategy. We are not following our guidelines, our rules. So if we think about things in A game, B game, C game, we could start to journal and log trades. And so if you think about this from taking your last 10, 20, 30, 100 trades, your last 1 month of trades, if you can go back and try to figure out which of those trades were A game, B game, or C game, you'll come up with some sort of bell curve. And that bell curve takes us to the Inchworm concept. Before we get into the Inchworm concept, I do want to thank the sponsor of today's video, Iron Beam.
Introducing Iron Beam, a bright choice for futures trading. Iron Beam is an industry-leading broker catering to traders worldwide. With 24-hour live support and the free Iron Beam platform, you can trade the most popular and liquid future contracts anywhere and from any device. With day trade margins as low as $50 and no account minimums, futures trading is more accessible than ever. Register now and let us help you shine a light on futures trading. Iron Beam.
The Inchworm concept is taking that bell curve that we've created. Now, how we create that bell curve is we log X number of trades, and we log them as A, B, or C. And in logging them as A, B, or C, we are going to have some sort of curve that looks like this, where the majority of our trades probably end up somewhere in the B range. We've got some A and some C, but the majority are somewhere in the B range. And our game plan and our goal is to just inch that curve forward And how we do that is kind of how an inchworm moves, right? We try to move the front of the curve forward while the back stays stationary. And then once the front has moved, we then move the back forward while the front stays stationary, right? And so we're just inching our way along by improving our A game and improving the number of trades on our going from B to A, trying to get us more towards the A side. And then that levels up our B game and our A game, and then shoring up our backside by minimizing some of the things that we would do in our C game, and that brings our backside up. So we kind of have this curve that's pushing along, slowly inching by shoring up our backside, correcting some mistakes, and then improving our A side, or our good side, letting things run longer, operating in the zone, letting the market come to us, etc. All things that are giving us A quality trades. Now, to me, that was like one of the most fundamental pieces of this book. And right there, you've got a pretty good starting point. Now, beyond that, he gets into mapping greed and fear. Now, what this is where we start talking more about journaling. Here's where we have to be more attentive to what we're actually doing, our emotions, how we're feeling, and then what that leads to on a given day, week, month, year, etc. So we need to start doing a better job of mapping and tracking how we feel on a given day. This doesn't mean we have to spend 3 hours journaling in the morning, but if we wake up and we feel anxious, or we feel this, or we feel that, you could have had maybe a fight, you've got something going on in your personal life, and you're feeling a certain way going into the day. He wants you to kind of start off by tracking things like that. And then as we get into the day, when you start to identify times where you are being greedy, you're looking for more, you're not taking profits where you thought you were supposed to take profits originally. Why, right? Like the question is why, and how we get to the why is by trying to figure out everything that went in to that day, to that decision. So you don't just figure it out by going, okay, I was too greedy. Next time I'll just adjust my stop loss or my take profit to where I originally had it. Well, cool, but why did I do that in the first place? Like what caused me to operate the way that I did, to move away from my original strategy and to change my take profit, to change my stop loss mid-trade? And if we can understand why that's happening, we'll have a better understanding of our emotions, we'll have a better understanding of what contributes to the good and to the bad in our trading, and then we have the raw data to go back and correct our mistakes. The same goes for fear. When you get fearful, when you might move a stop loss, you might do a whole list of things, but there may be an underlying cause to that fear that we can ultimately journal and correct from the beginning. One of the next key parts to the book is going on tilt. Most of us have probably gone on tilt at some point, whether you even know what that is or not. And tilt is when you kind of, all bets are off, you start getting pissed, you start getting angry, and you start rolling into this like, I need to make it back or I need to make more, and you throw a lot of your rules, a lot of your strategy out the window. And many times this can happen after a long period of frustrations. You may have had a period of time where your strategy was not working, you start to get pissed, and then you just kind of lose it. And in doing so, you can go on tilt and then end up really risking way too much. You could win a couple trades, make a lot of money, try to double down, and then end up losing a lot more in the process. And so going on tilt, again, the same concept applies here. What we want to do is track what led up, or understand what led up to going on tilt. If we can understand what led to that and have a better understanding of the things that may be going on in our personal life, how we're feeling, we could put ourselves in a position to avoid that in the future, or to correct that in the future, so that we don't make those mistakes later on. But again, all of it comes back to mapping and journaling where this is coming from through our feelings, our thoughts, our emotions prior to taking these trades. And you don't have to journal and do this every single day before the market opens, but what you can do is at the end of the day is reflect back and keep a log of times you were greedy, times you were fearful, times you went on tilt, and then try to unpack inside of that what may be the causes to that. And then you can even track those and put those into a list where now you can say, okay, here's my A game, B game, C game for the times I'm greedy, the times that I'm fearful, the times I'm going on tilt, etc. Now, there are more pieces to the book, pieces like confidence, discipline, then corrections, and then troubleshooting from there. But in my opinion, I believe the core of the book, the core takeaways, are what we have already covered. If you want to dive deeper into that, I will leave a link down below this video to check out the book yourself. Highly recommend it. Also, check out the sponsor of today's video, Iron Beam. Links to both of those down below this video. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up button, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.